Innovate the healer, kill the mastiffs. We got this. In a sense of...
Or something?
Do you see my mana? What am I supposed to do for you?
I'll stun him.
No, just run out right now.
Man, oh man, the PirateSoftware saga has been one hell of a thing to see unraveling. I've learned a lot throughout this entire thing, and honestly, I mean, it just is what it is, isn't it? It's unfortunate that this guy, this prominent top-tier Blizzard employee, just can't take an L and move on, because this seems to be the main issue here throughout this entire downfall of his, going back years now. It's actually kind of crazy when you look at everything individually and you see it, this one common thing always coming up. Even in situations that I hadn't taken into account at all or didn't even know about. Sorry for the delay on this video, by the way. I went and got myself sick and then just couldn't really record anything until today. Hopefully from here on it's all smooth sailing though, so let's get right into it. One of the things that I missed previously, for example, was when I checked out an upper echelon video defending PirateSoftware's actions. It was an awful video, it makes no sense whatsoever, and by the end of it, upper echelon even admits that PirateSoftware, former Blizzard employee by the way, is wrong about the Stop Killing Games initiative, but what he is doing with the way that he's reacting to it is correct, because giving into an internet mob is wrong. Basically, he equates what's happening to PirateSoftware right now to be like if he misgendered someone or whatever, and now we had a cancel mob at his door trying to force him to apologize, you know, some fake outrage type of thing where you've done nothing wrong, or at least nothing actually bad, and now people want to have you by the nuts, forcing you to apologize and bend to them. It's absolutely ridiculous and has nothing to do with the situation that he was in. What he had were people that were pissed off at him because he was actively misrepresenting an initiative and being hostile to the dude who got it off the ground for no good reason, denying to interact with him with disingenuous reasoning, literally too stupid to understand the very words that he was reading from the initiative's pages, or purposefully missing the point while lying just to double and triple down over time to not admit a mistake. The dude was basically LARPing as an expert. He took a hostile position against it and refused to change his mind because that's just not what he was there for. When you're wrong, you're just wrong. And in a situation like this where important things are at stake, it's even more important to own up to it, get some closure on things, apologize to your fan base, etc. Like, I know that he doesn't want to apologize to other people, his ego literally will not allow it. If there's a part of him that never runs out of mana, it's that, but at the very least he should have done it to his supporters, squash the beef wherever he could, and try to lay low until things calm down, but instead he actually did the opposite, and we'll get to that later on in this video. But right now, back to the upper echelon video, I totally dismissed a part of his setup going off about something that happened to PirateSoftware during a World of Warcraft hardcore match with a bunch of other streamers, the OnlyFangs incident. I still think that the main reason why this backlash has been so big is the initiative and not just some previous event like some online match. After all, there's just something pretty strong about a malicious, uninformed jackass trying to ruin a really good thing for the games industry while being freezer levels of arrogant. Though of course the context of this guy continually having situations like these throughout years is obviously going to feed into it. And yeah, the World of Warcraft situation was actually pretty huge apparently. I just totally dismissed it because I'm pretty goddamn certain that I don't follow a single person that participated in it, so I never saw it. I never even saw that it happened. So when I'm watching Upper Echelon's video and he opens it up by saying, so this all started back in they were playing World of Warcraft and he didn't play very well. And I was just like, what the f are you talking about? Nobody gives a shit about any World of Warcraft match. This is about the Stop Killing Games initiative. But yeah, PirateSoftware actually got a lot of flack for it because once again, he made mistakes, he played like shit, he abandoned his teammates, and then he got all uppity about it, laying the entire blame on everyone else, telling them that it was their fault because they didn't pay attention to the game. I have a few clips here to show off. Just in case you're like me and you only ever heard about this, but you don't actually know how bad it got.
Any grenades, anything?
You can just
heal him.
Yeah, you just heal me. Just come back a little bit.
What's on me? Sitting bear form.
Snuppy, just run.
I can help a lot. Yeah.
Pirate, why are you walking, bro?
What are you talking about? Why am I walking?
This
Look
is
at my mana.
savage, but
Just kill the master.
Innovate.
Intervene
Use
the healer.
Nova,
Kill,
bro,
kill the
come on.
Mastiffs. We got this.
Heals.
In a sense of...
Or something?
Do you see my mana? What am I supposed to do for you?
Just kill the Mastiffs. One shot. Okay, we
More
pulled
than-
another
more on the way,
pass.
more on the
Run
way.
now.
Okay, get out, get out.
Run, run.
You have a boss in you, you called run.
Getting slowed.
Fuck. Wait.
Anything for me?
I can-
Stumpy. Oh,
I
no.
don't think... I cannot stun him. Also,
No,
you're
just
good.
run out, run out.
You instantly ran. You didn't even look
As much
back.
as you're angry right now, of course I ran.
I'm
Don't
not
be
angry at all.
You
I'm not angry at all.
overpulled 2 packs. You overpulled 2 packs and a boss. I had 1,400 mana left. I had to spend all of that mana to try and put it on Blizzard to save you guys in the first place, and nothing left. You weren't paying attention to party resources, you overpulled, and you weren't paying attention to where the boss was. That's not on me.
I don't think I like your fucking attitude right now, if I'm being perfectly honest, Eric.
Even when things had calmed down from the initial visceral reactions of wondering why the fuck is this guy, who, by the way, worked at Blizzard for so many years, is just bolting out of the blue while leaving his squad to die. People on his match once again tried to kind of bring the heat of the discussion back down to a balanced level by essentially admitting that they did share part of the blame as well. It was just a bad game in general, but that it sucked that Jason was taking none of it and just acting all high and mighty, laying the blame on them when he had very clearly performed terribly as well and made mistakes. However, that didn't work at all. Diplomacy with pirate cuckware? Good luck with that. He just quadrupled down by this point and continued on being hostile. Here's another clip.
What do you want, man?
Let me say it again.
He already said his piece.
Pirate.
Go on.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear God.
I want to speak to him because I didn't speak to him correctly. I said it again. We all did mistakes, bro. Like I didn't say, we are just blaming you. It's about the zero accountability is what makes us so mad.
There's no zero
You see the
accountability,
point?
dude. Everyone can do something better.
you-
But when you open up and you yell over another person
listen,
like you
can
were doing
I
earlier,
speak?
nah, I'm good.
You
See ya. I'm not doing that shit again with him. Nah, he did it the first time. I'm not doing it a second one. Not interested.
Who is this cute little lesbian and how tight is her
This went on for a long time, and now I do see why so many people bring up this incident. It was basically an extremely public display of the shit that he had already displayed before. Another and complete lack of accountability, an incredibly inflated ego, a piss-poor attitude, an annoying personality in general, and then, when the push comes to shove, an unbeatable stubbornness to try and get on top of a situation while actually just digging himself deeper in. This wasn't like a bad take that he gave while streaming some random day, buried under hours and hours and hours of video, or something that some random smaller creator dug up and made a video about that nobody ever saw. This was big. There were many eyes on this event as it brought together several streamers, even though my eyes were very far away from that shit, obviously. Now, he's obviously not a good source of information given the dishonesty on display several times now, whether it be on the situation with Stop Killing Games, or the hardcore World of Warcraft incident, or the validity of his credentials as to his work at Blizzard, or his accolades as a hacker, or even his credentials as a, pro gamer looking at puzzle solutions to games that he's streaming and then pretending like he just figured that shit out on the spot.
Maybe it's not with the scanner. Maybe there's a different way. Maybe it's not the scanner at all. Maybe it's the time. Maybe the fact that we were able to destroy the surface like that was the point. Huh.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Or the thing about not having COVID and then having it for 9 months and then having lost years of game development because of it. Man, it's just, it's tiresome. Keeping up with this guy, it's very tiresome, and I don't know how some people do it, but God bless them. Anyway, long story short, among other stuff. So when he says that he had to ban like 50,000 accounts from their Twitch because of constant trolling over the World of Warcraft event, I'm a bit skeptical in believing it, but even if it's just half of that, like even if he is lying and it's not 50, it's just half, 25,000 is still nuts. Like, it's actually nuts the amount of trolling that this generated at the time. And once again, this problem was exacerbated by his response. The arrogance, the dismissiveness, the condescension, the inability to admit that he's wrong, all basically making the matter worse and worse and worse, literally escalating it, just as it is happening right now. But it got me thinking, what else have I been missing about this guy? You know, besides the fact that he works at Blizzard, of course. Because this Stop Killing Games thing was the second time that I made a video on him. I had already made one a few months ago in December, and if you go check that one out, you will see how I introduce him in a very charitable manner. And this is because what I said at the start of that video was my impression of him, based on the reputation and the image that he built for himself. This whole thing, you know, the whole professional game developer shtick, the whole, hey, look at me, I know a lot about, software and stuff, you know, this has always kind of been his reputation, basically. This is what he was known for to laymen like myself, and this is actually why laymen like myself, all the way back in the summer last year, ignored the Stop Killing Games initiative. Because we heard this guy, who is supposed to know his shit, come out and say that it's a totally unviable thing that will do more harm than good and that nobody should be forced to run their games online indefinitely. And it wasn't even just us as viewers, it was also some content creators who got convinced of the same thing, so they didn't even bother to defend or push the initiative because they thought that PirateSoftware had some kind of authority on the matter and they didn't want to go against it. After all, they were just content creators and PirateSoftware was someone who worked at Blizzard for 57 years. I remember this buzzing around and I just remember thinking to myself, yeah, it makes sense, plus I really wouldn't be interested in that anyway. I don't like live services, and if the live service is so bad that it fails, why would a company be forced to keep it running? At that point, we're just harming the company for no reason and impeding them from scrapping something old and coming up with something new. And then I never thought about the matter again until it came back up this year. And I think this ended up happening to several other people because he had that kind of credibility to his name. He had that kind of reputation. Even with people who were not his active followers and viewers, like that's my case. I wasn't really a viewer of his, but he still just had that kind of reputation in the grand scheme of things. I also find that a little bit fascinating and maybe something that I may look into it in the future, because it kind of just came out of nowhere. You know, I used to think that this guy was actually incredibly prominent, kind of like one of these other people who have been actively making content and growing their channels for like 8 years. That seems to not be the case at all with PirateSoftware. It seems that he just blew up out of nowhere. But anyway, that's a matter for another day. When it comes to his claims in regards to the Stop Killing Games initiative, it turned out that none of it was true. None of this was stipulated in the initiative at all. Jason had made it all up and misrepresented it to hundreds of thousands of people, if not more. Actually, yeah, more, obviously more. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, he streamed it and then he made those videos. The videos got viewed even by Asmongold and shit. So yeah, no, he got to millions of people with that shit. Full video on this is pictured on screen right now and linked down in the description and top comment if you're interested. So huge W for Ross from Accursed Farms for making that video responding to all of his claims that were incorrect. He didn't want to do it because he didn't want to link the initiative to YouTube drama, which is what he was afraid that it would lead into, and boy oh boy was he right, because that has exploded now. But anyway, huge W for him making that detailed video explaining things and exposing everything that Pirate Boy over here got wrong deliberately. Because whether he likes it or not, he really was influential in the matter, and this is all thanks to his reputation. A reputation that he has had for quite a while now, where people just tuned in, listened to him speaking and got taken for a ride, thinking that this guy is some sort of game dev genius with loads of industry knowledge, when in reality he's not any better than anyone else. He really doesn't know more than shit that the average streamer or content creator in that area knows. It's not that he doesn't know how to code, it's not that he doesn't know some things, it's that he overinflated everything about himself. It's like if I was a janitor at a football stadium, but I told everyone that I played in the finals of the World Cup. And most damning is the fact that when he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, or he makes a mistake, no matter how innocent that mistake may be, he has a big problem admitting it. He will just double down while posing as an expert, and bringing up that he used to work at fucking Blizzard. By now you've surely noticed the ongoing meme in this video of how often I've mentioned this. And yeah, it is a bit of a joke because he has gone on record saying that he barely ever brings it up, even though he obviously does. In fact, he uses it as a form of giving additional credence to what the fuck he's about to say, right? He uses it as a credential, basically. But for the life of me, I have no idea why he brings it up this often. Any relevance or significance Blizzard ever had is long gone, man. All they are now is the fucking breast milk company. And yet he still brings it up as if it was supposed to mean something more mystical about it or something. My first time being distrustful of him was right there in December during that first video, and especially after getting a lot of comments on it mentioning a bunch of other crap about him that I had no clue about. The video itself was because of a clip of his that I had seen in regards to the culture war, where he insinuated that there is no such thing as any agendas for some of the terrible decisions that we have seen in some games of late. It's just that the industry naturally evolved to become what it is now. At some point, apparently, all that the games industry had were beach babes and buff dudes, and then kids just grew up and naturally became developers, got into the industry, and these, now, are the characters that they want to design, these are the stories that they want to write, etc., and that's just that. Here's a clip.
So the ones that are mad are just saying that games are ruined because woke shit in the game. Stop playing those games then. Yeah. Literally. Why are you playing games that you're mad at? Just go play other games. There's millions of games in the market. Steam is infinite games, dude. Like, there's so many goddamn games to play. And I think that kind of a argument is deep nonsense. Because I think that's really funny is a lot of people don't remember the history of games. They don't understand that 10, 15 years ago, you had basically two body models. You had the beach babe body model, and you had the buff man body model. And that was it. And there were a bunch of people who were like, hey, this game doesn't actually... It doesn't showcase a character model that I can identify with in any way. And people said, oh, go make your own games then. So they did. And now you're getting games that have those in them. And now people are saying, well, I don't want those in my games. Then go make your own games.
So basically, in other words, he's suggesting that objectively bad stories, narratives, themes, and character designs that have been central to the decline in gaming that we've seen over the past few years naturally replaced good stories, narratives, themes, and character designs that were more successful than them. As in, better writers and designers lost their jobs to worse ones purely from market demands making it so. And it was just the most retarded thing that I had ever heard, because if you do the minimum amount of research, you will run into stuff like this in the industry. Panels like these at the Game Developers Conference teaching developers about how to make their games political, and I don't mean political like how Metal Gear Solid or BioShock use political themes in their stories, I mean political as in sending or supporting contemporary divisive messaging through their games. Also lists of creative restrictions like these employed by Microsoft on Xbox first-party studio games. Recent mass layoffs and game cancellations should be able to show you just how amazing these are, huh? Pause and read every single item on that list and then tell me what about it is natural at all, especially the quotas near the end. And of course, we also have consultants like Sweet Baby Inc., which have been more than exposed by now on how they forced their way into working with big studios and wielded their ideology as a sword and shield. I should one day make a video specifically dedicated to them and with all evidence packed into one place instead of having bits and pieces spread out through different videos, but regardless, the evidence is there is no contesting it.
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups, and if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
Even companies within the industry are beginning to distance themselves from them in name, even though sometimes it's only in name. They often just go and hire another consultant and does the same thing, but with a different name. Among other things, fellas, honestly, it's a lot, and I got some really steamy comments on a previous video in regards to PirateSoftware. I think it was actually the one responding to Upper Echelon. People just going full unhinged as soon as I mentioned a few loose details in regards to the culture war in gaming. And I don't know why. Like, I understand that some people just hate PirateSoftware for the sport. They're not interested in any of all of this other culture war stuff going on in gaming, and I understand that, but what I don't understand is why get mad? Like, why get triggered when the truth bombs start to drop? It's not like I'm rude in my videos, it's not like I'm just, abrasive and just dropping shit like, hey, you fuck it. Like, I don't do that kind of thing, so I don't understand why a mere mention of Assassin's Creed Shadows just got so many people mad. I am all for new people finding the channel, and even more for people who are skeptical about these things to see evidence of it and listen in. But I feel at the same time there's so much, and when it's too much, too quickly, it turns people off and away. And I get it because I was right there in that same spot too. Oh, I was deep in a thoroughly left-leaning bubble. I questioned some things, but I never did it out loud because my friends would give me the side-eye and act weirdly around me. Literally as if I was in a cult. That alone often demotivated me from looking further into things and from caring. Like, I just basically was like, you know what, I don't care, fuck it, I'm not going to look into this, I'm just going to play a video game and shut up. And then there was too much of it infecting video games, and at that point I just couldn't avoid it. But even then, it still took time and bits of research at a time to really wake the fuck up. Like, it just doesn't happen in a snap of a finger, and when it's too much information all at once, it just looks like some nutcase spewing exposition. So of course I get why people would be off-put by information that exposes way too much of that in a random video where it wasn't even expected. But I would just say, give people a chance to express themselves to you, don't just demonize them over saying something that you have been taught your whole life, or a major part of it, to get immediately triggered at. That's brainwashy shit. Just listen to people, see what they have to show you, and discuss things. But anyway, let's move on. Naturally, with all of this garbage in the industry influencing the content that gets made in big corporate studios and companies, it was pretty goddamn obvious that no, this wasn't a natural event. The industry and entertainment in general really have always been very left-leaning. Being right-leaning is seen as a red flag, and you will even struggle to get in if you express those views. And if you're already in, you're going to struggle to even keep your job or your status, as we saw with Gina Carano, Zachary Levi, and Fraser Blaxland. So when PirateSoftware's argument was to just shut up and get into game development, make our own games because that's what others did, they just grew up and, they took over making video games with their own ideas, and even though these ideas are far less popular than the ideas that we had, somehow they took over anyway, totally naturally. It was reeking of bullshit and misinformation. And again, bullshit and misinformation coming from a highly influential creator with a big fan base and reach, speaking with authority that he did not earn, authority that he just straight up does not have. And once again, doing it in defense of the corporations in this goddamn industry, while posing as someone who is actually pro-developer and pro-consumer. And what's more, you see his tone right off the bat. This guy looks into nothing and then makes two dead wrong claims that are honestly shameful. Number one, he makes his little argument from authority that, oh no, people don't remember the history of video games, like, oh yes, please, Mr. Blizzard employee, fucking enlighten me on the history of video games being filled with buff dudes and beach babes and apparently nothing fucking else. Like, it's hilarious how far back you can go, and this is still bullshit. Like, you can't even pull up the goddamn 90s era of video games and make that argument because it's just false, and just shows how much of an ignorant and out-of-touch moron this guy is. And number two, he completely ignores this massive elephant in the room, which are the things that I just listed, and so much more that you don't really need to waste much time researching in order to find, especially last year in 2024, when so much of it was uncovered and honestly got blown out onto the open. It's even the primary reason why he even made that clip, why he even had that conversation with that other guy. It's because these claims blew up onto the open and everybody had questions about them. them. Like, this has never really been a conspiracy. This has always been out in the open because it's something that these people take pride in. That's why companies announce out loud when they have these initiatives going on in their studios. Like, for example, CD Projekt Red and Ubisoft having these programs to get young people into game development, but barring men from entering them. It's a dead obvious case of discrimination, but it's publicly and proudly announced and put on display because it's the kind of discrimination that looks good. So I called it out. Very relaxedly, by the way. I was hopped up on flu medicine, being super chill about everything, and it's funny how it's come full circle because I got sick again last week, and I'm still on the mend right now while making this video talking about that situation. And it's also worth noting that this happened before the World of Warcraft situation. There's the people out there who like to defend PirateSoftware, saying that all of this crap stems from that event, as if everything was fine before that event, and then because of what happened there, people have just been maliciously trolling him ever since. That's just not true. PirateSoftware has had an issue here, this inherent problem of his. It's been around for a long time now. The World of Warcraft situation was just a very loud and very public display of it. And for me personally, what happened with that video was a window into seeing that this guy, despite having worked at Blizzard for like 400 years or whatever it was, and despite running his own indie studio now and posing as someone who knows a lot about game development, didn't actually know all that fucking much about what he's talking about the goings-on within the games industry. Then comments filled me in on so much more, including on the legend of Maldavia's fig tree, which the less said about this the better, mostly because it's confusing as hell for me. Apparently it was a pseudonym of his in Second Life, from which he sold furry avatars. And honestly guys, I didn't even look this up because I don't even want to know what that means. Like, did he sell real ones in-game for people in real life? Like setting up an e-store online for a real-life business or trade or whatever? Or did he sell them in-game, as in in-game ones for people to use in Second Life? If he sold them in real life, why? And if he sold them in Second Life, how the fuck do people use them? Does the game allow for that? Do you see what I mean? The less said about this shit, the better. I don't want to know. I don't want to peer into the universe of furries. I'm very afraid of what's behind that door. It is kind of funny though, especially the name Maldavia's fig tree. The sound of it is just perfect for the arc that he's in right now. It's like Sith Lord Maldavius spazzing out against his own Discord community. Or maybe like a Daedric Lord.
You dare disturb my gooning mortal? I am Maldavia's fig tree, Daedric Lord of assholes.
Now, I'm not gonna bore you guys by going through all the details of the Stop Killing Games initiative Crashout because we already did that here. This was my most watched video, so I assume that most clicking on this one will probably have already watched it, unless you're new to my channel. If that's the case, then hello, my name is Dez, and I have been the president of Blizzard since 1776. I have worked on Half-Life 3, writing and directing, and I'm also a neurosurgeon. Feel free to check out the video for the full context. Again, it'll be linked in the description and the top comment. It goes through the situation, and I even give my own god-awful insight from a totally inexperienced backseat position, counter-arguing PirateSoftware's terrible expert opinion on the matter. But we're gonna go through some of what happened for context here so that our story is not incomplete, and also giving an update on the initiative right now. So first, as we went through, he misrepresented the shit out of this initiative last year. Some people covered it, but not much of it mattered, and a big part of it was in my opinion because PirateSoftware still had quite a bit of clout and legitimacy. Ross Scott, let's say the face of the initiative, tried to reach out to him and talk, clear up any mistakes or misconceptions, but he failed because PirateSoftware hid away like a little bitch. Sorry, that was my cat messing around with my script. PirateSoftware actually thought that he was a scummy snake oil merchant, so we refused to speak to him further. But honestly, my cat is kind of right. The real reason was if he actually did go on a one-on-one with him, he would have gotten completely owned because he was about as wrong about that thing as anyone could ever be about anything else. And he also looked like shit while at it because of his hostility towards Ross.
Oh shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That the level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. I dropped the mask entirely. I have no qualms about that. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing.
Ross did not pursue this because, again, he didn't want to create internet drama with the renowned CEO of Blizzard, and eventually the initiative lost momentum and it ended up not even reaching half the signature goal. Fast forward a year, Ross Scott is about 1 month away from the initiative ending and failing, so he went ahead and finally responded to all of those false claims. He made a really good direct video that addressed all the important bits and even honestly exposed Pirate's lies about only making 2 videos on the initiative. And then Pirate crashed out on social media. Other content creators entered the fray, including Charlie, aka Moist Critical, aka Penguin Zero, and boom, situation explodes. Signatures ramp back up, and now we are here. And once again, rather than taking a step back and kind of just admitting where he was wrong, which there isn't even any escape from because it's just as clear as day after that video that Ross made, literally pointing to text on the initiative's pages where it proves the opposite of what PirateSoftware was saying about it, and in some occasions even pointing to text that Pirate has on screen in big letters as he is reading, but he just, I don't know. In a previous video, I said that he had the reading comprehension of a fucking door, and I meant it, guys. I really did. Sorry, I lost my train of thought, but anyway, rather than taking a step back and apologizing or just admitting that he was wrong and moving on, Pirate doubled and tripled down once again. First with his Crashout, which we went over in that aforementioned video, and second, this salty clip right here where he says this.
Trying to say that our rescue was an animal horde. I've been called a pet, zoophile, rapist, corporate plant, degenerate, narcissist, nepo baby, and many other names. And they attacked all the accomplishments over my life, despite physical evidence to prove to the contrary. And they also went after every job I ever held, trying to say that I never worked them, or if I did work them, that I never deserved them. So, I'm going to be honest with you. I hope that your initiative gets everything you asked for, but nothing you wanted. And I'll leave it there.
I mean, brother, come on. You know you don't know anything. You know that's why you have to leave it there, because you don't really have a response to any of the arguments that were made against you. You got zero response, and you know that any single line of bullshit that you may try to get away with is just going to get called out in another 150 videos. But anyway, sadly, it didn't end there. He quadrupled down, and what's the next one? Quintuple? He quintupled down by even going against his own fans in his own Discord server. And this one here is just sad because these are people who straight up like him, people who enjoy his content, people who care about him, and especially who feel for him in this situation, just trying to reach him, trying to get to him, trying to get him to chill out, maybe just take the L and maybe take a break, but he's having none of it. The dude has such a massive chip on his shoulder that even his own fans are getting heat over caring about him enough to offer guidance. In a recent message, he stated as follows: "Going to be real here for the people in the back who don't get it. You know where this road of attacks and well poisoning ends? It ends with shutting down company and firing everyone if they manage to poison enough people. It ends with no longer being able to support ferret rescue unless I can snag a job that supports it. People think that this is some ego trip shit? Fuck no. I have people to take care of. I am not going to sit by and let that shit happen. And you're dumb for suggesting it. Get fucking real. Seriously." It's sad that he doesn't notice how this attitude is just ending up with him self-sabotaging at this point. Whether he personally sees himself doing this as part of an ego trip or not, it is his ego that is putting him in the position that he's in right now, where he just can't let go. No amount of this cursed, twisted fighting he's doing is going to make his image or his claims or his game or anything else look any better. The opposite is happening, and messages like this will only make it worse with his own supporters in this community. And now the latest development, which I've only seen a little bit of, we'll see where it goes, is that apparently he may be getting himself in a bit of a serious trouble with, at the very least, Twitch, because of potentially breaking terms of service with one of these hype things. Guys, I'm gonna be real with you here, I don't do Twitch. I don't know the lingo, and I don't care, so I'll just explain it my own way, insofar as my understanding. Bro was streaming, and apparently when you're streaming, and there's a lot of donations and bits and shit coming your way, your stream may get hyped, or whatever the fuck they call it, and then it gets boosted by the platform, something like that. And so, you know, he was doing one of these little stream event kind of things where he, you know, gets himself some nice donations, gets himself those super chat type of donations over at Twitch where you gotta read a message. He even does a thing where if he doesn't read the donation message, then he donates the money from that message to charity, and if he does read it, then he keeps the money for himself. So anyway, in order to keep the little hype mechanic going, he allegedly had one of his moderators, named Kronos, buying bits to donate to the stream under a different name, a different account, and even wrote a really lame message on top of it going, "Oh hey man, I'm Kronos' friend in real life. I think you are so cool. So many streamers go big and change, but not you. You so cool." Some bullshit like that, which obviously is incredibly cringy when under the context that it's Kronos just glazing his boss, and then you have PirateSoftware reading that shit, knowing perfectly well that it is Kronos, but you know, pretending, you know, going along with the, you know, with the ruse. And honestly, fellas, I don't really give a shit about this. I'm just including it so that you're all in on the loop of what the buzz is so far. I have no idea how serious this is, I have no idea how actionable this is, because we all know that Twitch is not necessarily the fucking, you know, well, what's the word here? You know, they're not necessarily the, you know, the arbiters of truth. They're not really the pinnacle of ethics or anything like that. I mean, Twitch is pretty fucking corrupt. It's a goddamn clown show at this point. Rules apply to whoever the they want rules to apply to, so honestly, it could very well be that PirateSoftware is not really breaking any rules at all when judging by their own parameters, where basically it doesn't really fucking matter. You know, Hassan breaks rules every goddamn day, the dude is still streaming. But now you're all caught up, so there you go. And again, you know, this all stems from the same issue. He is unable to just take an L and move on. If he was able to do that, he wouldn't be nearly as relevant as he is. In regards to his mistakes, especially, like the mistakes that he makes, the little dramas that are formed around him and by him, they would just move on, you know, like water under a bridge. But he just isn't capable of doing that, and so people just keep digging more and more and more into him, and they find even shit like this from months ago. There's even people playing his game right now and talking shit about it online, which actually got me curious to try it out myself, because I find it hard to believe that it's as bad as what people are saying it is, so I might check it out myself, though right now I'm like super busy with Wu-Chang. I got other games that I would like to focus on coming up right now this month, Dying Light the Beast, Mafia, The Old Country, Lost Soul aside. There's a little poll on the community tab if you're interested in voting on which one of these I should prioritize, but so yeah, just busy, but I'll see if I make time to try out PirateSoftware's game at some point, and if the game really is that bad, then sure, I might mention it in the video as well or something, but otherwise, if I don't follow up, it's because I either didn't play it or I played it and it was fine. The initiative itself is doing fine. It crossed the 1 million mark and got 400 million more signatures on top of that. Usually this would be enough for people to rest easy and call it done, but in this case specifically, it's really good if we keep signing because we just never know. Something we have to remember is that we're not asking for someone to water our plants or feed our fish. We're going against a multi-billion-dollar industry here, and one that has been playing with shady shit for years now. Never forget that this rotten fucking industry literally introduced gambling mechanics to children, and they didn't even think twice about it. In fact, not only did they not think twice, they knew exactly what they were doing because they want people addicted so that they can keep spending. Never forget the scum fucks they had on board throughout the last decade doing panels, kind of like the ones that I mentioned earlier about making games political, except in this case, it was sharply dressed assholes teaching game developers how to monetize their games to the highest degree. How to create systems that create FOMO, aka fear of missing out, how to price in-game currency and toggle progression so that when you earn some in-game currency, you never have enough to buy anything, and when you buy some currency packs, you always have just enough to buy the item that you wanted, plus a little bit more that is just enough to make you think, well, it's a shame for all of these extra points to go to waste, so I guess I'll buy another extra pack and buy something else too. These people are worse than fucking loan sharks, and this is what we're up against. There was already a response against Stop Killing Games from Video Games Europe, which is a lobbying group composed of all the biggest assholes in the industry right now. Well, at least some of them. You know, your Ubisofts, your EAs, your Activisions, etc. You know, the Nintendos, your Sonys, your Microsoft, everybody's in the party. And they came out of the gates immediately with lies and misrepresentations. I covered it on this video. If you're interested in checking it out, here it is. The link will be on the description and on the top comment as well. But if not, maybe this clip from it will change your mind. I'm gonna read the statement for you guys and we're gonna parse the entire thing through my bullshit detector. I only bought it last week though, I haven't had time to calibrate it yet, so excuse me for any weird quirks. But let's check it out. We appreciate the passion of our community. However, the decision to discontinue online services is multifaceted, never taken lightly, and must be an option for companies when an online experience is no longer commercially viable. We understand that it can be disappointing for players, but when it does happen, the industry ensures that players are given fair notice of the prospective changes in compliance with local consumer protection laws. Oh, what, like the 3 months for the crew? Hey fellas, in 3 months your game is gone, sorry about that. Thanks a lot, asshole. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting way too ahead of myself. Let's put this through the bullshit detector first and see what comes out.
You little fucks actually made it? Oh god damn it, what the hell, everything was fine. This thing was dead in the water, what the fuck happened? We own you. You ain't getting shit. These games are ours. You are nothing. You're a fucking renter and we'll take whatever we want from you. Oh, you want the games not to get shut down? Well, too bad. Should've bought more copies. Should've bought more loot boxes. Should've bought more microtransactions and battle passes. Wanna keep playing your little game? Buy the sequel, chump. We're gonna do whatever we want, and there ain't shit that you can do about it because it's legal. It's all legal. The game was rigged from the start, bitch.
And now the latest update is that they filed some kind of complaint against Ross Scott with a bunch of malicious, baseless arguments trying to invalidate the initiative by mischaracterizing the support that Ross has showed for it, and all the promoting that he did for it as well, which he had already double-checked last year to make sure that he was allowed to do. I don't think this is the last that we're going to hear of these people trying something, and I don't think that they've done their worst yet. This is the downside of any such movement like this, where it's just really a bunch of well-intentioned people, down-to-earth folk making a legitimate, good-hearted effort, trying to just be allowed to own the games that we buy, avoiding their destruction, versus a goddamn multi-billion-dollar industry composed of a bunch of companies who have no problems at all with being immoral. In fact, remember how EA was actually voted as the worst company of the year like twice in a row? Yeah. But it's not all doom and gloom. The initiative has also seen support from some actual politicians. Here's an updated list of them from a recent video from Ross. One of them even signed the initiative himself and promoted it on his social media. And of course you guys also totally killed it with the support. If you're a citizen of the EU and you haven't signed it yet, I'll be leaving a link in the description and top comment of this video as well if you or any friends or loved ones feel inclined to do so. There's always a chance of some signatures getting invalidated, so the more the merrier. There's one last thing that happened and that is pretty relevant though. Like I said, man, this has just been a crazy roller coaster, and there's even more stuff that I'm probably forgetting or even unaware of because of how much of a mess this has been. So there's this guy on YouTube. His channel is The Coding Jesus. He's actually been a channel member here for months now. And this guy is killing it, by the way. I remember when he became a channel member, he had like just north of 100,000 subs, and now he's over 200. And as you can tell by the name and all the content in his channel, he clearly is very familiar with coding. And sometimes he even looks like Jesus, depends on his haircut and his beard situation. Now, Coding Jesus here went ahead and decided to look into PirateSoftware's coding. Earlier this month he released a video named "I Reviewed PirateSoftware's Code." Oh boy. And oh boy indeed, because in his analysis he found it to be incredibly sloppy and inefficient, things that I had already heard from PirateSoftware's critics before. This was the first out of a couple more follow-up videos of his checking out issues with PirateSoftware's code. He even ended up responding to Jesus here, but it didn't go well, especially because, as usual, there's no real accountability or honest engagement of any kind or anything like that. There's just not much to be had in terms of a conversation. He just got ass mad about it again and called him another YouTube grifter chasing relevance. That's basically all that exists in this guy's universe. He's always right, and if you're not seeing it his way, you're just a grifter chasing relevance or drumming up the vestigial drama that literally orbits around PirateSoftware at this point, making it pretty goddamn difficult to criticize him or to call him out on whatever the situation may be without being labeled as one of these things by either himself or his community. It's actually ridiculous how this word and other expressions like it are just thrown around these days like this, just willy-nilly. It's losing all meaning. Like last year, I actually got bothered when someone called me a grifter or a drama farmer or a rage baiter, but just like so many other words, I don't even care about it anymore in 2025. It means jack shit now. It's literally just used by morons who want to escape accountability or who hate you because you say things that they disagree with. All you would really need to do is just scroll down through Coding Jesus's page to see that he's not a grifter or a drama tuber or anything of that kind. It's really very simple. A matter that surrounds his sphere of content, right, the topics that he makes videos on, popped up and he made a video on it. It's like when I make videos talking about something that is topical that just happened, like for example the Ghost of Yote situation, or is actively happening in the gaming space. People just get ass mad about it because it just doesn't suit them. Coding Jesus pointed out specific issues like magic numbers without clear meaning, poor code readability, excessive commenting, bad data structures, bad performance. He pointed out that, for example, the game's lighting system is being processed by the CPU instead of using GPU shaders, so on and so forth. And in conclusion, none of these things that he was seeing really lined up with PirateSoftware's lore as a World Series S-tier Ultra Chad who literally founded Blizzard all the way back in 1519 on Leonardo da Vinci's deathbed. Something about all this is just not lining up, you know what I mean? But really now, on a serious note, this matters. And once again, it matters because of, who Jason has made himself out to be. Him and his fanbase can cope and seethe as much as they want, but when you stroll around overplaying just how much you actually know, just how significant your roles and your jobs were, just how vast your accolades are, and then your code looks like something that does not reflect that in a game that is still not even finished after 8 years of development, then I'm sorry, but that's a problem waiting to happen. It creates this huge contrast where you have the image of the guy who's supposed to be this ultra professional guy, very knowledgeable about the industry, very knowledgeable when it comes to coding, when it comes to game development, when it comes to all of these little details, but then you have the reality, and the reality comes from so many different sides. I mean, first you have palpable practical situations like these where the code just doesn't make any goddamn sense. Then you have situations like Stop Killing Games where it's the easiest fucking W that you can pull when it comes to supporting something. This is why Ross said in the initiative initially that this is an easy win for politicians. This is like an easy W, because it is. It's a pro-consumer measure. It doesn't fuck with anybody. The only people it really fucks with are those higher-ups inside of these studios and companies who basically want to have the power of taking a game purchase away from you, which is something that they are now actively doing. And yet PirateSoftware still couldn't go with it. He says that he's pro-consumer, he says that he's pro-developer, but he still couldn't fucking support it. He had to go and do this whole rigmarole. Then you have other smaller little things that just don't make any goddamn sense. Again, like for example, streaming, looking up solutions to video game puzzles, and then pretending like he just figured out the puzzle on his own. The reality of who this guy is clashes so violently against the image that he has set up for himself that it just creates these extremely volatile reactions. where the drama online with this guy just goes on and on and on and on, especially because of his stubbornness. And he just can't let go of that image, and it's not even one of those cases where people kind of form their own opinions and their own image of someone falsely. No, it's what he promotes. Every time he talks about any goddamn matter to do with important stuff, as it happened with the Stop Killing Games initiative in those videos that he made, he introduces himself with all of what that aforementioned reputation entails.
Hi. My name is Jason Thor Hall, also known as PirateSoftware Online. I've been in the gaming industry for about 20 years. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment, then Amazon Game Studios, and now I own my own studio, PirateSoftware, by the same name, which is an indie studio, and I've been here for about 8 years now. I also run a massive community. We've got about 180,000 people in Discord, and most of what I do is try to teach other people how to make games, teach them that they can make games, show them the tools to do so, and try to do everything without any paywalls or bullshit in the way. It's incredibly important to me that we keep making games, and that it's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. No, eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass.
It is what it is. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this is his biggest curse. And again, Coding Jesus wasn't the first to get suspicious of this guy's accolades and to look into them, and he probably is not going to be the last, because this is like a vicious cycle or something, where he presents himself as being really good or knowledgeable at something, like really good at World of Warcraft, before roaching out on his teammates saying that he had no mana while carrying a fucking mana potion in his inventory, or really knowledgeable and experienced in the games industry, game development, etc., and therefore telling everyone why they shouldn't support the Stop Killing Games initiative while knowing nothing about it and being completely incapable of picturing what a fucking end-of-life plan is when he's a game developer. Whether this is because he's dumber than a plank of wood, or because he was trying to protect the live service game that he was associated with alongside Ludwig, I can't really say. In fact, this is a rumor, I haven't really confirmed it myself, so there's that. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm not a mind reader. I mean, sometimes I am, but currently I have no mana left, so there's really just nothing else that I can do here besides wrap this up and finish the video. Here's to PirateSoftware and all of the fantastic content that he continues on generating for everyone. But on a serious note, if I were to reach out for 1 second and give him advice, it would legitimately be what some of his Discord server said. Just take the L, lay low for a while, and then move on. Nobody can convince me that someone who goes live almost every day and gets so much fucking money from donations can take a few goddamn weeks off. It's the best that he could do. I don't know him personally to say whether or not he is a good person, but one way or another, this is just getting way too much, and I can't even imagine what it must be like to be on the receiving end of it. I think that at this point, he is spiraling. He is in a position where it's like he can't fix it himself. He is desynchronized, basically. It's like he's going down a fucking hill and he just can't stop, because he refuses to do the one thing that could help him. But one way or another, it's not in my business, so that's it for me on this one, fellas. I'm peacing out. Sorry for the wait on this one. I would have made it way earlier, but recording while under the weather is a constant pain in the ass of repeating lines and shit. Even now, I know that I'm not sounding normal. But thanks for watching either way though. Subscribe and stay tuned for all upcoming videos. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and that's about it. I will see you on the next one. It'll be a tour of my brand new office over at Blizzard. Take care.